Coalition demands further amendments to the RTI bill, and Hussein Swale's funeral is set for February 7th and 8th.
Now, the Daily Guide is reporting this morning that Akim Shwejo, suspected kidnapper, grabbed and Otufo Hills Free SHS. There's also a story about police hunting the Ayawaso shooters. There's one about NDC gurus storming the AC, charge on Jean Mensah there, who is the AC boss. That's the story on the front page of the Daily Guide.
On the back page of the Daily Graphic, Kome claims IBF title with second round TKO win. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, lapses in lecturers' qualifications exposed. National Council for Tertiary Education audit report. 3 shareholders of defunct Unibank urge court to join the Attorney General to suit.
Let's begin. Anyway, you were telling me about suicides this morning.
Okay, yeah, so very worrying. There are 4 separate stories of suicide that have happened in the past week. And 2 of them actually really caught my attention. So 2 of them are about children. So a 13-year-old girl was found hanging on a tree. They saw the body and they called the police. That happened in Sunyani. And then also a class 4 pupil hanged herself to death. So she came back from school around 2 p.m. She washed her school uniforms and then she went into the room and then she hung herself. And then also there's a 30-year-old man found in a classroom and then a 54-year-old woman as well. So these trends are very worrying. Now the top reasons why people are killing themselves for men is because of poverty. For women, it's because of heartbreak. But for children, and this is between 9 and 19. In the first place, 531 youngsters between 9 and 19 have killed themselves over the past year, and that is the estimated number. About 500, yes, about 500 youngsters between 9 and 19, as the trends have followed, will kill themselves every year. We know that we have about 2,000 deaths from suicide a year. Now, for the kids, the 9 to 19-year-olds, the things that really push them to get to this point are stress, bullying, and peer pressure. And bullying and peer pressure come in so many different ways. But the thing about that also really bothered me is the fact that 20% of street children are actually out of school because of bullying and peer pressure, more so because of specific learning disabilities and stuff. So they're not doing well in school. Their friends are laughing at them. They're going out onto the street, and then some of them are going on to kill themselves. The World Health Organization has said that by 2020, 1.5 million people will kill themselves all over the world. Now, the problem is that the legislative instruments for the Mental Health Act has not been passed, and so the Mental Health Authority does not have that vim or that push to talk about public education and promotion when it comes to this. So this month my focus is really getting that legislative instrument so that we can do the work that's
consistently their budgets has actually not been either released or a very small portion has been given to them. So we are getting many people joining that mental stream, and yet they're not getting the kind of help they need.
And apart from everything, if we want to focus on what the problem is with the children, then we must begin with the schools as well.
That's true.
Counseling was a big issue.
Exactly,
as well,
because we can't overlook bullying.
That's true.
We can't. It's a teacher's responsibility if bullying goes on.
And also the stress that the children are going through. So we need to build tenacity.
From
that
the
has nothing to do with bullying. Yes,
the parents also have a role to play, because if the parents put too much pressure on the children to achieve in a certain way, shape or form without the needed support and resources, that could also result in stress.
And the counseling should go both ways. For even the kids who are bullying others, they equally need to be counseled.
Exactly.
Sometimes people hide their insecurities behind bullying anyway.
And our hearts goes out to the families of these 2 children who have died and the 2 others which have been unreported. Now, Raymond, let's come back to one of the topical issues of the weekend. The Catholic bishops have been speaking on the violence that we saw last week.
So the Catholic bishops, Peace Council, several other civil society groups have condemned the violence that happened at Ayawaso West Wuogon. And what we understand is that, according to the Catholic Bishops' Conference, this is not expected to happen in this age. We've come way too far for such actions to be done. In fact, they are demanding swift investigation and apprehension of people who were involved, and they're being dealt with appropriately. We've also heard several comments, but the crux of what is currently the biggest problem on our hands is the National Minister of State in charge of National Security saying that the people who are deployed at Ayawaso were there for a purpose, and he has a term for it. He coined the term that they were there for a serious national issue, and that national issue has not abated. So, as and when the need arises, they will deploy them to other parts of the country too. Just after that, in the course of the day, the former President Mahama, who had earlier reacted and insisted that the NDC has the muscle and the competence to match boot for boot anybody who will bring violence on the day, came back to say, first and foremost, that the Peace Council's call on him to apologize, or calls for him to apologize, should rather be directed at those who committed the act. He's also been speaking about the National Security Minister's claims about deploying more. He says the NDC would resist anybody they know in this form who appear at a polling station or be used for the election in 2020, and that the strength of the masses is bigger than any uniformed or any security institution in the country. Obviously, from that, the stage is now set for obvious collisions sometime to come in the future. I hope cool heads can prevail in this matter. I hope that the leadership of both sides, let's be clear, politicians have not done this country any good. They have taken the monies, they have spent it, they have abused it in times past, they have wasted our resources. We are in a country with so much resource and cannot see our left from right. There's so much to do with
politicians.
Predominantly.
Unfair, but you go ahead.
Oh, predominantly.
Unfair.
You
go ahead.
Predominantly, you agree?
Raymond.
I want anyone to join fad. Yes, but the most important part in all of this is that they cannot plunge the state into chaos. At least the best they should do is put all the energy into helping solve the unemployment situation in the country. We cannot have them consistently give us indications that when they are going to select one of their own to continue with the plundering and all of that, we cannot lose lives as a result of that.
So the key issue is that we have seen vigilantism before in other forms. The challenge with this is that it's a state-sanctioned action, and for the life of me, I can't imagine. I'm not a security expert, but I can't imagine why security operatives will have to wear masks in broad daylight if they are doing a legitimized or a legitimate sanctioned government action. If they are on an official operation, why should they be wearing masks? Are these people who are sanctioned to carry guns? Are these people who have been trained to have the temperament? Remember, Captain retired Budu Kumsi made a point about Bufites, the security personnel at Buckingham Palace. You can stand in front of them and do whatever you want. They will stand stiff and straight because they are trained to remain calm. No matter how provoked a security operative is by a member of parliament or by any other member of society, is the best response to slap a person? Have we taken them through the right protocols to ensure that these people can carry a gun and go about their work no matter what kind of provocation comes? Because it's different if we are dealing with just a mere criminal who needs to be caught. But if this person has been sent by a national security minister, that means this person's job is sanctioned by the state. And if this person does something and he's wearing a mask and we don't even know who to report to, then there's a challenge that we have. So there are still a lot of questions there that we need to deal with as a nation. But anymore, I'm coming back to you because I want to hear about the US visa restrictions.
Yes, so we know that there's been a bit of a back and forth since July 2016, and the US says that we're not doing what is needed to bring people who have been deported from the US back to Ghana. The response is that we're fact-checking, trying to make sure that the people that are being asked to come back to Ghana are actually Ghanaians, and then we're also, they're Ghanaians, and then we're also, there's also the problem of issuing their travel documents. So the US has imposed some restrictions. Now, the affected persons are parliamentarians, members of the executive and their families who are applying to travel on holiday or business. So usually what they'll do is that they'll give you a 6-month visa, multiple entry. Now they're only giving a 30-day single entry visa. This starts from today and will go on until this issue has been resolved. So we also know that there's a new US ambassador to Ghana, Ms. Stephanie Sullivan. She reiterated this when she spoke last week and said that the scope of the restrictions will be expanded if no action is taken by the Ghanaian counterparts to remove some 7,000 people from the US.
I was at that meeting and I asked her specifically what is the action that she expects from government, or the US government expects from our government, which would reverse this. And I asked her also, what is the time frame that we have? So is there a deadline to when, if by this time we haven't gotten these answers, we would see a wider restriction? And what's the nature of the wider restrictions? First of all, she said that she can't give us a specific deadline. She can't tell us what the wider restrictions are, but she did say that she expects there to be some sort of standardized procedure so that if they send 20 names to the Ghanaian embassy, they can give travel documents, because the real argument is about they want them to issue passports to people who are deported so that the people can take commercial flights, rather than them chartering flights for these deportees
and the cost involved
back to Ghana. Because if you charter flights, it is more expensive. Exactly. So they are saying that they just want a standardized procedure, because concerns have been raised from the Ghanaian counterparts that it's not everyone you are telling us is Ghanaian who we believe is Ghanaian. Some of these people could be from other countries, and they are saying, let us have a system where if you take 30 names, you can tell us that we have vetted them, 11 of them are Ghanaians, the other 19 are not. Actually, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a statement saying that they are very unfair and that there has been some sort of cooperation going on. The challenge with the US Embassy is that after this, when are we going to hear them speak again so that we can have that sort of response? But we are confident in knowing that there can be an impasse resolved, because Ms. Sullivan told us, Madame Sullivan, if I can say that, told us that she had even had a meeting with Shelley Ayokoboche the day before, and it seemed like things were getting better. So let's see what happens. At the moment, the restrictions are on executive and legislature and diplomats. So members of parliament, ministers, workers within those areas, they can't take 5-year multiple visas anymore. They can only take a 1-month single entry visa. And the workers of diplomats, they can't get visas at all. We don't know what they mean by wider sanctions, like I said earlier. But let's see what happens in terms of cooperation.
In the big scheme of things, this would be a good time to go and renew your visa if you're planning to travel soon.
Yes, it is if you want to.
Until the wider sanctions are
deployed.
Okay. Yeah. NDC gurus storm EC.
Yeah. So the Daily Guide has been reporting that just when the incident about what happened at IRS was happening, then the national chairman of the NDC, together with some other leading members of the party, went to the EC headquarters to see the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. In fact, the Daily Guide chronicles how the security at the headquarters of the EC is very porous, that it does not restrict or actually prevent people who are not at the point in time having appointments within the institution to go there. So some members of the institution, as in EC staff, were worried about how porous the institution was at the time, and they thought that they were under attack of a sort because of the incident that happened at IASO, West Wuogon in the first place. But luckily, nothing of that sort happened. The Daily Guide is also reporting that they went into some meeting with the EC boss. The idea was to make sure that the right thing is done at the end of the day, and that the elections are conducted in the way that's more reasonable to them. Of course, this was before they announced that we are going to partake in the election again.
Yes, yes. All right. So let me say a good morning to lawyer Juliet Akpedo. Lawyer was at an event that I emceed on Saturday, and you didn't come and say hi. You're not nice at all.
They say you were saying you were something.
She should have come to say hi. Lawyer, don't text Raymond next time. Come over and say hi. But the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil Good Energy. It's a new year. It's still good energy with Goil, your reliable energy partner. Get yourself the best quality and value for money from Goil Super XP and Diesel XP. Trusted range of lubricants from our 360 service stations across the country. You are our valued customer, so we want to say thank you, and we value our partnership with you. Because of you, we are still #1 and still CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Goil Good Energy, Goil, proudly Ghanaian. Goil. Now pay and apply for your Ghanaian passports the easy way with your Zenith Bank card. If you want to get a US visa quickly, you need a passport. So log on to mfa.gov.gh, select passports, follow the prompts, and you can pay with your Zenith Visa or MasterCard. Payment reflects real time. That's what we call service. Pay your passport application fee the easy way with your Zenith Bank card today. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. MyJournline.com says Takoradi holds mammoth vigil for kidnapped girls. Will be touching base there this morning. It was a political metaphor, which Akufo-Addo is apologizing for the deaf-blind comment. The BBC.com says no traffic in Addis Ababa as Ethiopia marks car-free day. Interesting news coming out of Ethiopia. We're going to take these important messages, and when we come back, the BBC News takes off. Stay with us.
A wonderful life, wondering how